Hello and welcome to Tech Lab Studios. My name is Darius O'Kane, and what we try to do here in Tech Lab Studios is help you to integrate all of your technology for your live stream or your recordings, whether you're a business, a ministry, or a content creator. So we try to give you the tools to make everything a little bit easier for you without breaking the bank. So it just so happened that I was working on setting up my live stream for my business through Evmux, and I went into the Evmux software yesterday and was surprised that they had added a plugin for the Streamdeck. So it's something that I had been working on in the past myself and setting up some Streamdeck routines, and I was happy to see that Evmux had added a profile in there to help you with this process. So what I saw the other day when I went in the news section was a panel that showed that Evmux had Stream Deck profile added, and was something that I really thought that I needed to take a look at and see if it would work for us. And I did just that. So it tells you that from your hotkey section, you can click on the download of the Evmux preset. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. If I come into settings and then over to hotkeys, here's the link where we can download the Evmux preset. So we're going to do that. And it's going to be a download. I'm going to navigate over to my download folder. And then we're going to save that download. Okay, so now it's open. And it is a zip file, so we can go ahead, right click on it and extract all. And that's going to extract the contents of that folder for us. Okay, and once I get in there, we see that they have two versions. They have a version for Mac, and they also have a version for Windows. Okay, so since I'm on a Windows machine, I'm going to go ahead and double click on that. So it's going to ask me which device do I want to use this profile on. So in my case, I do have a number of Stream Decks. I have a Stream Deck Plus. The Stream Deck 2 is the smaller one, and then Stream Deck is the XL. And I'm also using the Stream Deck Mobile. I'm going to go ahead and pull this into the Stream Deck and click install. And then I'm going to navigate over to the Stream Deck, and I see on this device that they have added an option for Evmux-Win. So this is the Windows version of the Evmux plugin for Windows. Okay, and within here, there's 3 pages. The first page has your normal Evmux icons and functionality. The second one has sound effects, so you can click any of the sound effects that you have available here. You also have volume controls here as well. And then the last page, you have scenes. So this switches from, the first one is the dynamic scenes, and then you have your pro scenes, and that's going to be scene number 2 through 9. If you click on any of these scenes, it's going to go ahead and switch to that particular scene. You also have down here scene previous and next. So depending on whatever scene you're on, you can go to the scene previous to that one, or you can go to the next scene in your list. Okay, and then the last option that it has is an option to select a scene by name. And for me, this is a really big deal to have this option, because you can configure this so that you can choose any scene on your list, even beyond the first 9 scenes that with the hotkeys you're before limited to. This allows you to pre-configure this button to go and pick a specific scene. And in my workflow, it really does help a lot to have that option. Okay, so for the purpose of this instruction, I'm going to actually go ahead and switch over to my Streamdeck mobile that I already have done some of the work to get everything set up. One thing that you would notice, let's switch back for a second, back over to the Streamdeck, is that the number of buttons that it has in here corresponds to the standard Streamdeck. So it would not be covering everything, all of the button real estate that you have in the Streamdeck XL. Like I do have that. So what you can do, if you have one of the larger Streamdecks, you can actually copy buttons over and fill in some of this space that is here. So for example, if I wanted to get this button here, I can right click on it, copy, come back over to page 3, and then wherever I want to, I can right click and paste that button in. So that's one thing that I've done with my setup for my Streamdeck mobile. Again, if we jump back over to Streamdeck mobile, I filled in some of the other buttons. So what I've done is taken what was on page 1 and added it. I added some of the buttons that I had pre-configured before Evmux released this, and then I went in and customized things a little bit. Okay, so here I have my dynamic scene. So let's do this. So if I come back over to Evmux, so if I click on my button for dynamic scene, it's going to just switch me to that dynamic scene, just like we would expect. I also have buttons down here for my introduction and then each of the other scenes that is in my list up through scene number 9. Okay, one thing to keep in mind here is that this is not a direct integration with Evmux, so you need to make sure that you do have your studio window active so that whatever you click on will work as you expected. So this is a hotkey integration, not a direct integration into the software. So you'll see me click away from my Streamdeck here to make sure that I have the window open for Evmux so that whatever I choose will go ahead and work as we expect it to work. Okay, so for example, if I wanted to go to my scene 7, okay, I'm in Evmux, and on my Streamdeck mobile, I'm clicking number 7, and then it switches to that particular scene. Again, if I wanted to go the previous scene, it would do that. It would back up, and now it's showing what's on screen 6. If I want to go back to screen 7, I can do either next or I can press 7. Okay, so in my workflow, I have a setup where if I go to my screen number 9, it is actually a rotation that plays screen 9 for a few seconds, and then it switches to screen 10 for a few minutes. Then it goes to 11, 12, and then it rotates back to 1. So I can select number 9, and it goes into a rotation to play those scenes as I need them to. The option that they gave us to play by name allows us to select anything on our list, even beyond those 9. Okay, so what I've done here is copy this little template, and we'll go into it and I'll show you exactly what you have in there. If I click on this, it shows me that this is a multi-action, and by default they have it set up. If we drill down into it, the first thing it does hotkey Control F. That gets you into the quick scene search. Then it waits 50 milliseconds to give it time, to give the system time to catch up. And then the next item on here is very important. What they did is gave you a template here, and it reads scene name, edit this. So you can edit that and put in dialogue that tells you what scene name that you want. And then under text, you need to enter the specific scene that you want to switch to. So over here, I have a scene that says new scene. So if I went in and typed in new scene, and then I backed out of here, then that should arm this button so that when I click it, it is going to do a search for the term new scene. Okay, so let's see how that works. For this, I'm going to turn off studio mode, and then I'm going to click that button by name. So what it did, it brought up new scene, and it narrowed it down in that list. But one thing that it did, I found that to make this work the way that we need it to work, we need to add a carriage return after it. So it needs to hit enter for us to go into that scene. Okay, so let me do this. Let me switch back off of that. I'm going to bring this back up, and we're going to go into this, and we're going to drag hotkey in here. And then the keystroke that we want is just enter or return. So let's try this again. We're on our dynamic scene, and then we're going to click by name, and it switched as we expected it to. Okay, so that's one thing to keep in mind. Now, another thing further that I found as I did this was that this works fine if we are not in studio mode. If we are in studio mode and I go back and I switch back to my dynamic scene, if I choose the by name option, it works as we expected, but it brought it into the editor window rather than making it go live. Okay, and that is easy enough for us to fix as well. And I just wanted to point this out so that you didn't have any problems as you're trying to work through this. What I found that I had to do to make this work was add an additional line and use the Alt L option. The Alt L option is the hotkey to transition whatever scene we select and have that go into the live stream. Okay, so I'm going to select that option. We'll come back down here to our multi option, and then we're going to do another hotkey. And for this one, it's going to be alternate L. Okay, and then we're going to back out of that. Okay, so here we are again. Let's go ahead and put something else in our preview. Okay, and we have our dynamic scene over here showing. Then we're going to select the button by name, put in new, and then it brought it up and it transitioned it over to the live size. That's working for us. So I have another one that I had pre-set up for our church service for ways to give. And if I again hit that button, it'll do the same thing, search for ways to give, and then it transitions that over to the other side. There's a lot that we can do with this. Again, I found this as being very beneficial to help me with my workflow and give me some more flexibility. So we're going to do some more testing on some of the features that we have here in Evmux. And if you have any questions, anything that you want me to take a look at and demonstrate, I'll be happy to do that. So I appreciate your time and thank you for watching.